Now, we started the show off acknowledging the tragedy at the parade. I don't want to mistake anything. Nothing is more important that's happened at the parade than that moment. As we get more information, people will know. But in the meantime, Frank, there was one news nugget, let's say it out of this, before the tragedy that I think people are going to be talking about as we get into the offseason. And that was Chris Jones, who might be the biggest name on the free agent market, loudly proclaiming he's not going anywhere at the Chiefs parade. His agent, of course, tweets, "Cut them off, bartenders, too much beer." I understand his agent trying to protect all of this, but I'm just wondering what we can make of what a player says at the parade when they're in that moment of celebration.
Yeah, and that's tough because it's why guys don't want to like be asked a retirement question right after a big win or a big loss because the emotions are just so high. Of course, Chris Jones is going to say he's coming back with the Chiefs Kingdom there and celebrating a Super Bowl with his teammates. So we'll see. I mean, there's a reason he held out. Like, this is not going to be an easy contract to get done. At the end of the day, do I think it gets done? Yes. I think Chris Jones comes back to the Chiefs. He's too important to them. And I think that's what he wants. Like, I think that if push comes to shove, and it's not like a holdout situation where, eventually I'm going to play for these guys this season. This is, hey, I'm either coming back to the Chiefs and probably ending my career here, or I'm going to take a little bit more money to go play for the Carolina Panthers. Like, what do you really want to do with your life? What's worth it? Worth it to go for a three-peat, or worth just getting a couple extra million on the back of your contract? Like, I don't mind guys who quote unquote chase the money, get the biggest. That's your business. Go do it. But I think in Chris Jones's case, just everything he said Super Bowl week and before that too, and even at the parade, he clearly wants to be back in Kansas City. I think Kansas City respects him enough that they're going to pay him as much as they possibly can with their salary cap constraints and trying to get L'Jarius Sneed back too. But when I did my top 25 free agents this week, Chris Jones is number one for me. If Chris Jones, they don't use a franchise, if he gets to the free agency somehow, there's going to be a lot of offers on the table for him. He is one of the great players of this generation. I really believe that. He went from vastly underrated to really kind of getting his proper due. I'm interested to see how this plays out, but I think you'd agree too. He'll probably be back with the Chiefs.
I feel like that's the right thing because of the three-peat element too. Like, look,
that's
obviously
huge.
the Chiefs,
I think that's huge. That's huge.
I mean, it's a chance of history, right? So like, it's a chance of being remembered forever, right? That's a three-peat has never been done in the Super Bowl era. And it would be this opportunity for history to talk about you constantly. And if you're Chris Jones, you're looking at it saying, hey, I'm playing at the highest possible level. I've made more money than I could ever know what to do with. I think there's got to be some middle ground, right? Like, I don't think he's going to take such a hometown discount that it's insulting. But if it's only a few extra million here or there, like, is he suddenly going to go play for the Raiders and try and topple the Chiefs when he can remain on a possible three-time Super Bowl champion? I think that's too special. And there isn't a team, as we're going to get into this show, I don't think there's a team sitting here that's a Chris Jones away from suddenly beating Mahomes. So like, if you're Chris Jones, you're looking at it and saying, man, I'd be going to the other side for what? Like, for money?
Yeah.
And money's a big deal to a lot of guys, but I don't think we're going to be talking about a pack of Cheez-Its from one team and a mansion from the other. I think we're talking about relatively comparable money for sure.
Yeah. And also Fitz, Hall of Fame. I don't know where you sit on Chris Jones, Hall of Fame prospects. I like his chances, but I don't think he's there yet. I wouldn't, if he retired today, would he be a Hall of Famer? I don't know. I think that would be a debate at least. But I think it's a lot different if he comes back to the Chiefs, gets a three-peat, keeps doing what he's doing there, versus going to the Washington Commanders and just having some nondescript seasons on a 6-11 team. I think there's just, I think if he comes back and gets that three-peat, all of a sudden we see guys off great teams, and he might already be there. We see guys off great teams kind of ride that wave into the Hall of Fame, right? Like, nothing against like Steve McMichael, right? But if Steve McMichael wasn't part of the 85 Bears, I don't think he gets into the Hall of Fame last week. Like, that's just being honest. I think he's a heck of a player, but Chris Jones being part of a three-peat team, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that guy's definitely going to the Hall of Fame someday. Versus, again, you're grinding out the string with the New York Giants. Like, it's just different to me. So I think for all these reasons, Kansas City just makes the most sense.